Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a long time in the making. I promised I'd start making content. I didn't expect it to be this late, maybe a week or so later than I wanted to, but better late than never. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I will give you a little explanation. If you're not interested in the explanation, just want to get on to the preview, because this is a preview for Man City versus Spurs, or you already know what's going on, I'll leave a timestamp somewhere on the screen where you can go to if you don't want the explanation. If you want to know, or if you think you should know, then stick around for 30 seconds. I'll give you a little explanation. So, what is happening with this channel? Why has it been inactive? Short answer is, as most of you know, Hugh started working for City Extra. He started making City content over there. So this channel basically was left in a little bit of limbo, I guess you could say, while we figured out where we wanted to take it. And we figured that out now. If you have caught some of the City Extra streams that I have been participant of, then you will know that I've been planning to make my own City content, the content that we used to make on this channel, just me, myself. And I'm happy to announce that this is the beginning of said plan. That is what I'm going to be doing. So if you liked what we did before, and if you like my opinions, or you like to laugh at my opinions if you think they're silly, then please stick around, because I'll be making this content more often. I'm taking up the reins on this one. And as for Hugh, of course, this is HMTV. This is his personal channel. He'll still be in and around. I'm sure you're aware, if you've been paying attention recently, that there's been a few reaction videos. We like those. We like making those. They're good fun. And we appreciate the support on those. So yeah, he'll keep making those, and he's already offered his helping hand if I ever want him on a stream and he's got a free hour or so to talk about City. But if you want his opinions, of course, go over to City Extra. That's where he's taken his match day stuff. And if you're interested in mine, then you can please stick around, because yeah, I can't wait to get started. But onto the video. Manchester City versus Spurs on a Sunday afternoon. How often do we play on a Sunday? Not very. I think we actually played on the Sunday recently against Chelsea, and we all know how that game went. So fingers crossed we get something obviously similar, because we want to be entertained, but hopefully the result is a little bit better. As for Spurs, just touching on them first, they have their fair share of injuries, suspensions, all of the above. They are missing so many players. Sky Sports put out a thing the other day with an entire starting 11 of players that aren't available for Spurs. That's the state of their squad. They've just come off the back of 2 back-to-back defeats, most recently to Aston Villa, where they were slightly unlucky. They had a few disallowed goals, but they still lost. And they're in a little bit of a rut, which can be cause for concern, because you can argue that they are a wounded animal, so to speak, and they may play where they feel they have little to lose and they might give it a go. Now, of course, I expected them to give us a go, regardless of form, because Ange Postecoglou has got them playing very good football, and he deserves the praise for that. But with the fact that they've had 2 losses in a row, I think that is a slightly scary prospect of having a Spurs team who could have a little bit of extra motivation. We already know they play well against us, because they usually beat us, especially in their new stadium where we haven't even scored yet. But with their share of injuries and suspensions, this should be a game that we're looking to win. I'm looking at Aston Villa, the game they most recently lost. They had a back 4 of 4 full-backs. If I am Erling Haaland, I'm looking at that and licking my lips. I'm looking at that and going, I could get 2 or 3. This could be a game for me. Just give me the ball. I hope they give me the ball, because I'll stick it in the back of the net. So that is something that, keep your eye on. If Spurs are struggling for defensive numbers, we might have a field day, because, based on the last couple of games, maybe barring Liverpool, Chelsea, we scored 4, Leipzig, we scored 3. We're pretty good at putting the ball in the back of the net, but what we've not been good at recently is stopping the ball from going in the back of our own net. Defensively, again, apart from Liverpool, that was sort of maybe a blip in the middle where it was, a complete 180. I thought against Liverpool we struggled to take our chances, and we were pretty good defensively against Chelsea and against Leipzig. Defensively, we were all over the place. If we're being real, calling a spade, as a certain humour he likes to say, it was shocking. It was absolutely terrible. Schoolboy errors, individual mistakes that led to goals. A lot of the goals were carbon copies of each other, the same thing happening over and over again. The 2 goals that Leipzig scored to go 2-0 up were just long balls from the goalkeeper. So that's something that needs cutting out. And how do you do it? I'm not sure. Pep's still trying to experiment with the lack of John Stones, or the lack of a fully fit John Stones. We've seen Akanji pushed into that role. We've seen Rico Lewis play that role pretty well. We've seen Kyle Walker basically play as a right winger, which hasn't really worked too well. But it's causing us a few issues defensively. We seem to be very easy to just cut open and cut through on our goal as of recent. Again, Liverpool was maybe the other way around, but you look at the 2 games around that, they did 6 goals in those games, 4 against Chelsea, 2 against Leipzig. We were 2-0 down. Defensively, it's just not good enough. Now, how does he fix it? In my opinion, I thought when he made the 2 substitutions against RB Leipzig and pushed Rico Lewis into a fullback role, I think that we looked 10 times better. I think that having someone who's naturally good in that role, in that position, we just got more control of the game. Defensively, it allowed our actual defenders, like it allowed Akanji to stay back and be an actual defender instead of playing this John Stones role. Obviously, it allowed us to get more attackers on the pitch, but that was sort of a secondary thing. I just think that if I go back to sort of this point last year, Spurs at home was sort of the game where we realised what we had in Rico Lewis. He played extremely well that game. He was thrown in the deep end, and he played extremely well. That was sort of his burst onto the scene moment, if you will. He had a goal line clearance in that game, and he was playing against Son, who, I mean, we all know Son loves a goal against us. Like, he played really, really well against someone of that nature, someone of that experience as well. I think Pep should trust him. Do I think he will? Probably not, unfortunately. But in terms of a back four that I would like to see, I think Vardio keeps his place. He's been excellent, not put a foot wrong. Maybe, he made the mistake against Chelsea, but that's it. In terms of the whole season, he's not put a foot wrong. I thought the half-time substitution of Nathan Ake on Tuesday night, Nathan Ake did exactly what Ruben Dias and Manuel Akanji weren't doing, which was the basics. He was superb when he came on. He did the basics right. He did everything that he was asked to do. If you remember the second goal we conceded with Diaz on the halfway line, where he just completely misjudges the tackle. Nathan Ake, about 2 minutes into the second half, I believe it was, faced the same exact, basically a carbon copy, and he just stood him up. He just did the basics right. So I'd put Nathan Ake back in there. I think for me, he has to start. And as I said before, I go with Rico Lewis. I really think that Pep has shown a lot of trust, and I trust him to do that role better than Kyle Walker. Again, do I think he will play him? No. But if John Stones isn't going to play, I would play Rico Lewis, and then you're in a 50-50 between who do you put else in the middle. Do you put Ruben Diaz or do you put Manuel Akanji? I'd lean more towards Ruben Diaz because more often than not, he's excellent. He's just going for a little bit of a blip right now. Probably the worst he's ever played, really, those couple of games, the Chelsea game and the Leipzig game. But I still back him to turn that around. And in terms of just the rest of the squad, it's in a pretty similar shape to how it was last week. Mateo Kovacic has resumed training. He's available for selection. I don't think he would have started anyway. John Stones is going to travel, more than likely be on the bench. I think it's a smart thing that they are managing his minutes and not rushing him back and risking him aggravating his injury. Like, I think is what we have found ourselves in this situation where he's just been injured again, where I think we rushed him back because it was a needs must. We needed to do that. We needed him back with Rodri having, serving his suspension. We needed John Stones and we rushed him back and we paid the price. I think it's smart to manage him. I think I would rather not play him against Tottenham, and there's a chance that he plays against Aston Villa, than risk him against Tottenham and he's out until 2024. That's not an ideal situation that we want to have. And as for Mateus Nunes, he's still injured, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer to see him. And I suppose the only other piece of squad news is Rodri is walking a tightrope and he's still 1 yellow card away from suspension. Obviously, with Spurs to come, Villa away, Luton away. I don't know which game I'd rather he miss. Tell me in the comments, please. Pick your poison. In terms of my predicted 11, you'll see it on the screen right now. As I said, with my preferred back four, I don't think he will go with it. I think he will choose Walker over Rico Lewis. I will obviously remain to be seen to be surprised if he does pick Rico Lewis, I'll be over the moon, because I really think that with the lack of John Stones, Rico Lewis is just the natural replacement in that role. Maybe, obviously, he plays a different position. He starts off as a fullback, but it just suits the team better. It just suits the team better. I've got nothing against Kyle Walker or Manuel Akanji, but neither of them in these tactical roles they've been playing, because Walker's been pushing on and you've had Akanji trying to play the John Stones role. I don't think either of them, not only do they neither suit it, but it makes us play much worse, in my opinion. It just isn't the same. And if you're going to live and die on this 3 centre-back thing with the whole stepping into midfield from defence, having one person who does that, then if it's not John Stones, for me, it has to be Rico Lewis. Pep's placed enough trust in him already. I trust him enough, and like I said before, he played well last time against Tottenham, so I'd like to see it, but I don't think he will. As for the rest of the team, I kind of think it picks itself. I've got nothing against Jack Grealish, nothing at all, but with the form of Jeremy Doku, you can't drop him. You can't drop him. You can't take him off. If the left specifically, I wouldn't be putting Doku on the right just to get Grealish in. I would love to see Grealish in the midfield. I think we saw it against Young Boys for sort of 20 minutes with Doku on the left, Foden on the right, and Grealish in the sort of number 10 role. That'd be something that I'd like to see again as well. But, I mean, you saw what happened when Alvarez came off the bench on Tuesday. He scored, he helped us turn it around, he made an immediate impact. So I think the rest of the team picks itself. Defensively, again, I'd love to see something else, but as this is a predicted 11, not what I want to see, I think that's probably close to what it'll be. Obviously, Nathan Ake and Manuel Akanji is sort of 50-50, but I think with the cameo against Leipzig, I'd go with Nathan Ake. As for my score prediction, I'm going to go 3-1 City. I think with the injuries and suspensions that Tottenham have, with the fact that they only really have this one way of playing football, which is this sort of heavy metal, high intensity attacking, all out football, especially coming to the Etihad with the record that we have, I think it could be a long day for Tottenham. I really do think it could be a long day, especially when you consider the makeshift back four, someone like Doku running at that, Haaland looking at that. Yeah, it could be a high score. It really could be, but obviously Spurs love to get a result against us, so this could come back to bite me. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Let me know your score predictions, any predicted 11 sort of stuff, any questions you have about just my thoughts in general, or maybe the direction of the channel. If you're a little bit confused, I'll answer any questions there. Like the video if you haven't already. Really, really helps us out, get on the algorithm. Subscribe if you are new. We really want to build up this community again and get this channel going. And I'll see you at some point for a post-match reaction.